Alright, so this is the up close and personal with the wake. Sorry about that. Wake. R.T.A. Not the ache. Whoa. A little out of focus there. This is packaging. Nice little moon and what have you on there. Some product information as well as warning and stuff like that. Inside the box you're going to find your authenticity number and certificate of authenticity. It gives you a serial number there. You can look up and make sure what you bought is actually what you bought. My Wake R.T.A.'s red comes like this. Extra piece of Pyrex glass. And in the box, that's really about it. Acrylic drip tip sleeve. Really not what I like to use, but it's what works. I've had a little bit of difficulty trying to find another sleeve that fits on this exactly without having to change the O-rings and what have you, so I just have left it the way it is. Anodized aluminum construction. Pretty typical, except for this. This is really a fantastic idea. The designer of this really had some foresight, and I'm going to show you why when we set up new coils and wick this. I've seen another reviewer do a review on this Addy, and in my opinion he didn't use this ring correctly. But that's my opinion. Everybody's got their own. It is a flat deck, dual coil design, gold plated 510 pin. Sorry about that. Gold plated 510 pin. Standard insulator and all of that jazz. I mean, they're all putting the same things on these. So. And like I said, this isn't a review, it's more of just a wicking tutorial and kind of just up close and personal with this Addy. This is my personal R.T.A. I bought this R.T.A. because it goes with my Zenith iJoy, and that's what we're going to be setting this Addy on. This is another video. Great mod. Colors are a little off, but they still look great together, and that's what I love about it. Alright, sorry about that. I had to take a quick rip. Alright, so what I'm going to be using for a wire is the RTA Coil Flat Alien. This stuff's everywhere. It's really popular, so I'm not going to go over that a bunch. I like using flat. It gives me a better surface area for my wick. And then I just try to use maybe about a little bit longer than a finger. 2 of those we're going to need. Got my coil wand, and I'm gonna do a 2.5. Now there's half a dozen ways to do this. I'm gonna do an over. Some people say that spinning a coil is better to do under. I don't know, I've done it both ways. I've never really noticed a big difference, but maybe I'm just not paying close enough attention. So the first turn is going to be really just a junk turn. The meat and potatoes is going to be in the middle, and we're going to do 4 turns. So what you're going to see is 3 turns. Take a little needle nose pliers, and we're going to pull this nice and tight. Like so. Same thing with the other side. And then push it tight up against there. Now, I watched a video on doing your own handmade coils, and what the guy did, I thought was pretty smart, was he suggested pulling this all apart. Okay? Pull this apart. After you get it all pushed together, I know we just pushed it all together, and pulling it apart doesn't make a lot of sense, but it will. Alright, so you got some good even spacing on your coil there. Now, tighten it up and push it back together. Okay? And it's going to push apart evenly, just a little bit. And what that's going to do is that's going to completely eliminate hot spots on this coil. Alright, so that one's done. We'll set it aside, and we'll do the other one. Same process. 1, 2, 3 turns. And we're going to manipulate it, so it doesn't matter how far your spacing is when you try to do your initial first turn. Alright. Pull it apart. And shove it back together. Alright, and that one's done. We're going to have to cut these to length. And what I like to do is just about the length of the blade of your cutters. Or maybe a little bit longer, 1/4 of an inch. Cut it down. Set your blade on top of the last one, and that's how you're going to get the second one to be the same exact size. Do the same thing for this one, a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. Set that on there. Alright. Now we can go ahead and just set these coils in. Alright. Seems I set my tool down. I'm going to have to take a quick break and grab my Allen wrench. Alright. So I got my Allen wrench. I need to loosen up these screws. Drop this coil down. It's a good idea to hold on to it with the coil rod, that way you don't mutilate the coil as you're pushing it around. You want to get it fairly close to the deck because you don't want the coil to hit the bottom side of the chimney. So I'm going to go ahead and trim a little bit of this coil away. That should be good. just a little bit above the deck. Get one side nice and tightened in, and the other side alright, and just kind of push and prod that coil around where you want it. Sorry, my camera keeps dipping in and out of focus there. So there's the one. I'm going to go ahead and trim some of this away right away. Alright. Go ahead and put the coil on the coil wand. Loosen this mounting screw up a little bit. Same with this side. Get it in at the same height as the other one. Tighten down the one side. Go. And then the other side. Just manipulate that one. Till it's sitting at the same height. And they're about the same. Awesome. Alright, so that looks pretty decent. I'm going to go ahead and set this on top of the atomizer, or on top of the mod. Fire it a couple of times just to get it. That looks good. Now see, that's why we pulled those coils apart and then pushed them back together. No hot spots. Coil's ready to wick as soon as it cools down. And so we're outside, so that shouldn't take us too long. Going to be using cotton bacon. Good stuff. It's everywhere. Nobody should have any trouble finding this stuff. decent right there. Maybe a little less. There you go. So there's our cotton. Cut it in half. Kind of fluff it out a little bit. What have you. Get one side nice and pointy. Now when you're pulling this through, you want resistance, but not enough that it deforms the coil. That's too much. And then pull it back. You want resistance, but not so much that it moves the coil around. That side's done. Do the same thing with this piece of cotton. Pull that end apart. We're going to comb this out a little bit before we set it in place. Trim off this little here. Grab the end with your tweezers. Again, same thing. Resistance, but not so much that it moves the coil around. And then pull it back. That's pretty decent. Alright, so right straight off the bat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these down to just something that's a little bit more manageable to work with. About the same for both sides. And this trimming is just kind of a first one, because I am going to take and comb out all the loose cotton, anything that could bind up the wicking process. Okay, so you can see there we got some frayed ends. Just go ahead and trim that away. We still got lots of cotton to work with, so may end up trimming this yet, even after this. I like to comb out all of this extra cotton that's just hanging about, because for me it seems like it makes it the atomizer wick really well. Some people don't, and that's just, you know, gonna be for you to decide whether you want to do it or not. Alright, so we're looking good. We're gonna just go ahead and set these here to measure where we need to make our final trim. And I set these in place and I put a crease on the cotton, because that crease is going to tell me what I need to cut away. That's how this atomizer works. You know, not every atomizer is going to give you a nice little dent in the cotton to tell you where to cut it. Alright, there. And then we'll pull this one up. And we'll cut away just at the dent. Alright, that's done. Alright, now I like to turn these up like this. Kind of looks like a duster. we're going to be wicking this up with Brew City's The King. You can find this on my website, $21 plus shipping. It's fantastic custard flavor with a really nice cinnamon finish. It's good. So that's what we're going to be doing. And then just go ahead and get the underside of the cotton all juiced up. Same thing with this one. Alright. Just take a tool, push these back flat, and then just kind of brush them into one. So they're kind of just like that. Alright. Now, this is where this ring comes in really handy. This ring can only be put on one way, so you can't put this thing on wrong. Now if you see what I'm doing, I'm going to use this ring, and it's going to help me push this cotton right where it needs to go. Perfectly. You know, that cotton is perfectly seated in the wells where it needs to be because of this ring. Excuse me. Now we can go ahead and just really kind of inundate this cotton with our e-liquid. Get some on the coil, fire it, more on the coil, fire it, more. That's looking good. A little bit more. And then what I like to do is put just a drip or two right here on that opening. Fire it. The aroma that this is producing is really fantastic. Flat Pyrex right back onto the chimney piece. Screw this down. Good. Go ahead and fill it up. Cap it off again. Sorry for that anti-focus there. Alright, it's good to go.